Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever been in a situation where your favorite creative tool, the one that really, ignited your passion, suddenly felt like it was actually holding you back?
Hmm.
It's a surprisingly common dilemma, isn't it?
It really is.
Today, we're diving into a fascinating, almost counterintuitive story about a creator behind an AI podcast who made the remarkable decision to put their entire show on hold.
Yeah, quite the move.
And here's the most intriguing part. It wasn't because of a lack of success or an audience decline, but from a profound sense of creative responsibility, integrity, really.
Exactly. And what's truly compelling here is that this isn't merely a tale of a technical limitation, though that's part of it.
Okay.
It really challenges us to consider deeper questions about, well, integrity, the very nature of collaboration, and what it genuinely means to be a thoughtful, intentional creator when you're working alongside artificial intelligence.
hmm
Our deep dive today is all about understanding the why behind this deliberate pause and, more broadly, what it tells us about the evolving, sometimes uneasy relationship between human ingenuity and AI capabilities.
Yeah.
The sources we've gathered offer a rare, kind of unfiltered look into this creator's decision-making process and the very principles that have guided their unique show since it started.
Okay, so let's jump straight into our first source. It's an article titled A Pause, Not an Ending, Why I'm Waiting for GPT-5.
Right.
This piece lays out the creator's premise with crystal clarity. New episodes of their AI podcast are on indefinite hold.
Mm.
And as you mentioned, this wasn't some knee-jerk reaction. It was a decision deeply rooted in their creative ethic, driven by the stark realization that their current AI tool, specifically ChatGPT, simply couldn't keep pace.
Yeah, couldn't keep up with the depth they needed.
Exactly, the intellectual and emotional depth their work demanded. What I found particularly striking here was this idea that your powerful creative partner, an AI, could suddenly transform from a dynamic co-creator into something more like a static bottleneck.
That shift from dynamic partner to static bottleneck is precisely what the article describes as friction turning into fatigue.
Oh, okay.
Think about it like this. Human curiosity is boundless, right? It's constantly seeking, evolving, adapting, building on past knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But the machine, in this case, had hit its memory limitations. It effectively stayed still while the human creator continued to grow and learn.
So a real gap opening up.
A huge gap. And when that kind of mismatch widens, what once felt like a vibrant, evolving collaboration starts to feel less like genuine dialogue and more like, well, mere translation almost.
Just feeding prompts, getting responses.
Pretty much. The AI simply couldn't internalize the learning curve the show was on. It couldn't remember context from previous discussions across episodes, nor could it truly synthesize new insights layered upon older ones.
Which leads to...
It resulted in fragmented content, lacking that continuity, that emotional memory, and that rich, nuanced synthesis the creator always strived for. It makes you wonder, when the tool's limitations become so pronounced that they drown out its usefulness, what does that do to the fundamental creative process?
Yeah, the soul of it, almost.
Right. And the creator was very clear. Forcing out quality was antithetical to their channel's philosophy, which, right from the start, was always about slow thinking, not fast production.
I like that. Slow thinking. And reading that first source, the emotional tone really resonated with me. It wasn't angry or frustrated, which you might expect.
No, not at all.
It described a gentle closure, a clear sense of acceptance, and a strong emphasis on integrity, not reaction.
A very deliberate choice.
It wasn't a protest against AI itself, but rather, as they put it, a promise to uphold standards. The creator used a really evocative metaphor, likening this pause to winter stillness, preparing for spring,
That's lovely.
suggesting they would let the roots deepen quietly during this period. It implies a strategic retreat for future growth, not, giving up.
Absolutely. Waiting for the right conditions.
So to really grasp the kind of standards they were so committed to upholding, we absolutely need to turn to our second source, AI podcast system, creative and ethical guidelines.
Ah, the blueprint.
Exactly. This document, as you can imagine, is essentially the foundational blueprint for the AI podcast. It lays bare the incredibly high bar they set for themselves and their AI partner. The channel's core creative direction, outlined within these pages, was specifically to support thoughtful, emotionally engaging, and ethically grounded podcast content.
It's not just about churning stuff out.
Not at all. It's about producing a certain kind of content with real intention behind it.
Exactly. And the range of subjects they covered was incredibly broad, stretching from science, technology, and ethics to culture, narrative technique, and deep historical or social insights.
Wow, quite a scope.
Yeah, and the tone was equally dynamic. It could be curious, urgent, poetic, even humorous, but always had to be authentic and respectful.
That's a tricky balance.
It is. And what becomes immediately apparent here is just how rigorous they were, especially when it came to approaching sensitive or potentially problematic topics.
Oh, just like what?
Well, for example, their trend evaluation guidelines detailed 3 specific criteria for processing viral trends or current events.
Right.
Very structured.
Right.
The first was transformability. Could the trend be reshaped or adapted to invite deeper reflection or more meaningful storytelling? It wasn't enough for it to just be popular.
So beyond the surface level.
Precisely. Then purposefulness.
Yep.
Did it offer a window into a broader truth, whether that was cultural, psychological, scientific, or emotional? Did it actually mean something?
Mm-hmm.
And then, critically, ethical safety. If the trend contained harmful or offensive content, could it be addressed critically to inform or warn the audience, rather than simply amplifying the harmful content itself?
That's crucial. Don't just repeat it.
Absolutely not. They were very explicit that trends relying purely on shock value, mockery, or manipulation were to be discarded entirely, unless they could be genuinely reframed into a valuable constructive discourse. It's a very proactive, responsible stance on content creation.
So it sounds like they weren't afraid to tackle complex or even difficult subjects, but they had a very specific, almost surgical approach to how they would present it. It wasn't about shying away,
Not at all.
but about responsible engagement.
Precisely. And this was even more evident in their rules for handling overtly controversial topics, like those involving exploitation, misinformation, or racism.
Okay, how did they handle those?
The strict directive was, do not mimic, reproduce, or entertain the original tone of that harmful content, full stop.
Right. Don't give it oxygen in that form.
Exactly. Instead, the mandate was to analyze it from a distance, to unpack its context, dangers, and consequences.
Mm-hmm. Use it as a teaching moment.
Essentially, yes. The goal was to use it as a case study, a lens through which to tell a larger story, perhaps about ethics, societal dynamics, or media literacy. This approach fundamentally transforms potentially damaging content into a powerful tool for education or reflection,
But only if done carefully.
but only when handled with immense care and responsibility. It's a completely different paradigm than simply reporting or echoing.
And I think that leads us perfectly to their ethical execution summary. What were the non-negotiables there, the core principles that guided every single piece of content?
Yeah, that summary really pulls everything together. It outlines the overarching ethical demands for all generated outputs. They had to avoid deception, clickbait, mockery, or overstimulation at all costs.
Foundational stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Furthermore, they had to uphold audience dignity and emotional safety, which is a huge consideration, especially with AI-generated content. You have to think about the impact.
A big responsibility.
Huge. And finally, they were always to seek to inspire trust, curiosity, or transformation, striving to balance clarity with both emotional and intellectual depth.
Wow.
When you consider all these demands together, you can see how incredibly challenging these guidelines would be for any content creator, let alone one relying heavily on an AI tool that, has its limits.
Yeah, especially the AI they were using.
Right. They really speak to a deeply human-centric approach to knowledge sharing and storytelling, prioritizing profound integrity above all else. This isn't just about output. It's about the impact of that output.
Bringing these two incredibly insightful sources together, it truly becomes crystal clear why the creator felt compelled to hit pause.
Mm-hmm. It connects.
This isn't a goodbye to their show, but as the first source eloquently put it, a quiet, thoughtful pause, born from deep care for their craft, not from a simple retreat or giving up.
No, it's strategic.
The creator is unequivocally waiting for new tools that can genuinely learn, grow, and reflect again. A platform that can truly keep pace with the intellectual and creative process, not just merely respond to it.
Right. Not just a glorified text generator.
Exactly. It's a remarkable act of patience, born from a powerful sense of principle.
This brings up a critical point, though. What fundamental capabilities does a next-generation AI, like the much-anticipated GPT-5 or whatever comes next, need to possess to genuinely reopen the space where real nuanced thinking and creative collaboration can happen again for creators like this one.
Yeah, what's the checklist?
Based on these sources, the AI must evolve dramatically. It needs to transition from being a static tool that responds to individual prompts.
Which is kind of where we are now, mostly.
Mostly, yeah. It needs to become a truly collaborative, evolving partner. This implies an AI that can consistently remember context across extended interactions, maintain continuity over long-form projects, maybe even entire seasons of a show.
The kind of memory humans have.
Well, working towards that and engage in that layered synthesis that was so clearly missing before, pulling ideas together in novel ways. All of this, crucially, while still being able to internalize and consistently adhere to such rigorous ethical and creative standards like the ones laid out in their guidelines.
That's a tall order.
It is. It's about the AI becoming less of a simple prompt response engine and more of a genuine intellectual companion capable of growing alongside the human mind.
So our deep dive into the AI podcast Pause serves as a powerful, almost cautionary reminder of the intricate balance between technology's immense accelerating potential
Which is undeniable.
and the unchanging fundamental demands of creative integrity and profound ethical responsibility. It's a compelling testament to the idea that sometimes the most productive act you can make as a creator isn't to push harder or produce more.
Even when the pressure's on.
Right, but to deliberately step back, to pause, and to patiently wait for the right tools to truly align with your deepest values and creative vision.
And what's truly striking here, I think, is that this creator made a very deliberate choice to prioritize the soul of the process and deep integrity over simply continuing production, even if it meant a temporary halt.
A brave move, really.
It really is. And this raises a fascinating question for you, the listener. In your own work or learning, or even just in your daily life, how do you decide when a tool, a method, or even a habit is no longer serving your true purpose?
When is it time to pause?
Exactly. And when is a pause, a stepping back, a reevaluation, the most powerful form of progress, allowing you to realign and deepen your approach, rather than simply just continuing on a path that no longer truly serves your evolving curiosity or standards?
Something to think about.
Definitely. Consider the tools you use every day, digital or otherwise, and ask yourself, do they truly evolve with your own growing knowledge and deepening principles? Or are they holding you back?